All right, hey everyone, we're about to get started here. My name is Kai. Hopefully all of y'all can hear me. We are about to start our webinar, the YouTube blog style related webinar on CrazyTalk Animator 3. So in this webinar, I'm gonna kind of show you how to create a kind of a cool little quick, stupid animation that I did myself. And I believe we emailed this to you a little bit earlier, so this might be a little bit of a review for you guys seeing this video. But before we get started, let's go ahead and cover all the basics here. We are recording this webinar, so if I go too fast at any point or you want to review something on your own time, we'll be sending you a link via email where you can record, or where you can review rather by yourself. You can't record unless you want to. Yeah, so that's covered. So if you have any questions during this webinar as well, we're going to have a brief Q&A session, question and answer session at the very end. So last 10, 15 minutes or so, I will be free to answer your questions, any questions you might have. And you need to put those questions in the Q&A section of your your Zoom webinar panel there. There's a Q&A section there. That's where you put your questions, and I'll get to those at the very end of the webinar. So don't put your questions in the chat window. You'll need to put them in the Q&A window there. The chat window I'm just going to use for providing any links that I want to do, that I want to provide for you guys. There is one link that I'll send in just briefly here in a little while. And again, we do have our competition, the competition where you can find out about that on our Reallusion page. I believe the host will send a couple of links for you guys where you can review where you can check out the Reallusion competition page, the Animate Your Story, whatever it's called, page for our competition that's ending in July. So you still have another month to get into that, and hopefully the stuff that we do in this webinar will inspire you to create your own entry for that competition. Okay, and finally, we are going to be sending out a survey following this webinar. If you fill that survey, please provide us with any info, any ideas you have for future webinars, anything you'd like to see, any feedback. We're always looking to improve and expand on our webinar offerings. Okay, and if you do that for us, fill the survey and send it back to us. We'll be providing you with a 10% discount for the content store. So anything you want to pick up at the content store, you get a nice fat discount there. All right, and I think that about covers it. So let's go ahead and get started. Again, some links will be provided in the chat window, the Animation at Work competition, okay? And you can check that out. Okay, we're good to go. Let's go ahead and take a quick review of the video we're going to produce. Again, it's just a stupid video that I did by myself. Apologies for the cheesy humor, but here we go. Actually, let's pump up that volume a little bit. I'm not sure if the volume's loud enough for you guys. I'm just gonna... And I'm not even sure if okay, there we go. Hey everyone, today I'm going to attempt to give my cat a bath for the first time. Wish me luck. So, just a little update on my cat washing adventure. Cats do not like being put into water. Okay, so just a little goofy blurb there. I'm not really much of a YouTuber, but I gave it my best shot there. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to talk about basically a couple things. First of all, how to create this vectorized type of face. And for that, I'm actually going to send you a YouTube link. I have it saved here. This YouTube link helped me out. I'm going to provide this YouTube link in the chat window for you guys there. Okay, thanks, good attempt. Right, so that's the YouTube link in the chat window, and this YouTube link is kind of just a little quick Photoshop tutorial on how to create this kind of vectorized version of your face. And I'm going to show you how to turn that into a morph-based face in iClone, or not in CrazyTalk Animator. We're not in iClone, we're in CrazyTalk Animator today. All right, so yeah, let's go ahead and get started with that. The image we're going to be using, that I'm going to be using, is this crappy picture of me I took in some hotel in Mexico. All right, so again, when you are doing a picture of yourself, you want to keep a neutral expression, as neutral of an expression as possible. Ideally, you want to keep your lips straight as they can go, but I thought it looked a bit too serious. Whatever, we'll work with it because we can modify it later on in the vectorized version of my head. I'm not going to show the entire process because it's basically the same thing repeated over and over again, but I'm just going to quickly do this in Photoshop. I thought it was kind of cool when I watched this tutorial, you know, how to create a vectorized version of your face, like a cartoon version of your face. And so we'll go ahead and do that. Let's just go ahead and launch it in Photoshop then. Open with Photoshop. There we go. And yeah, after this, we'll just do it really quickly, and then I'll create the morph-based face in CrazyTalk Animator, and then we can go from there into the animation and the transitions and all that fun stuff, music and sound effects and everything. Okay, nothing better than staring at your face in HD quality for the duration of this webinar. Okay, so what we're going to do first, you just have your simple picture, right? What you want to do is go over here to your pen tool. All right, make sure that there's no fill set in your pen tool, okay? And that your stroke is set to black. Generally, black is what the color you want for your outline, okay? And a couple things here. The stroke width, I've set it to 3.8. You can set it to whatever you want. It's just going to be basically how wide the outline, the black outline is for your image. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in real close on my face here. I'm staring into the depths of your soul. All right, and let's go ahead and just really quickly do an outline. So if you watch this tutorial or that tutorial I sent you at a later date, it's basically what you're doing here is you're creating an outline of every part, every facial feature on your face. Okay, and if I load in another, actually, let's go ahead and load that in the finished version and just show you that before I get started here. This one, face.pst. Okay, so this is the final version that I created here. And you can see on the right, we have just, you know, various facial features. My face may be a little bit, skin color may be a little bit purple. You can always change that later. Okay, there's stuff like the right eye. I just basically created all these using the process I'm about to show you right now. The left brow, left and the nose. Okay, just drew the nose in like that. And this one here is just like the lines on the eyes. And I even have eyelids as well on this particular one. But in the final version, I did away with the eyelids, and I'll tell you why in just a moment. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Let's just do the same thing. Your pen tool, of course, and just start clicking. Left click along the outline of your hair. Now, if you click and you drag, I'm going to show you that in just a moment here. If you click and you drag, it's going to create like a little bit of a curve thing. You can click and drag and stretch it out to curve however you want, okay? You know, generally you don't want anything too extreme. Just kind of keep it like a natural kind of curve. And, you know, you don't have to be too accurate on this point. I'm just going to do it really quick here for the sake of time in this webinar because we can get to other things that are more important. So, again, it doesn't really matter if you follow the exact outline of your hair because what you're going to end up with in the end is just like basically a version that you're going to like fill in, okay? Like an outline of your hair that you're going to fill in. I do want to maybe try and get some small details along the edges if possible, but you know, I'm not going to worry too much about that. And that tutorial I sent you on YouTube there goes into a lot more detail about what the process is like here. All right. And if you want to exaggerate your hair, you're more than welcome to do that as well. You know, you can go that route as well. All right, let's just go ahead and finish this up. You have to create an outline for your entire hair, all right? And this, apologies if this part is a little bit monotonous, but you want to try and get, you know, fairly decent. Okay, and over here, and then basically the same thing along the inside of the hair, okay? And I'm not going to make it too detailed, just like this. Okay. This is the fun part. And you don't have to take this long doing it. Depends on how detailed you want to be with your own hair. Generally, with the hair as well, I did mention the stroke width is at 3.8. Now, in the tutorial video that I sent you, the guy basically uses a different stroke width for the hair and for the face. For the finer facial features like the eyes and the eyebrows and stuff like that, you'll want to just go ahead and use a smaller stroke width, okay? For thicker things like your hair and the outline of your face, you can use something like this. Okay, so basically I've just connected it to the very end there, and when you connected it, you can just press enter, okay? And then you have this shape outline, all right, in your layer panel there, okay? And what you can do is just go over here and choose the fill tool or the paint bucket tool, and then you can hold the Alt key, or first you just go ahead and click. It'll say you want to rasterize the layer. You need to rasterize it. Just go ahead and press OK. And hold the Alt key. And when you hold the Alt key, your icon will switch to a little paint dropper tool. And you can just select, whatever color of hair you want to fill in. Okay, I'll just do a light color like this, and then just fill in that area right there. Okay, now don't worry about all the other strands of hair coming out like that, because eventually you're going to get rid of the background anyways, and you'll just have an outline like this. Okay, so that's the outline for the hair, and I'll just go ahead and do the outline for the face there as well. Now, sometimes you may have to create a new layer by going down here to create a new layer, but I have it set so it automatically creates a layer when I use the pen tool here. So I'm going to go ahead and use the pen tool one more time, and then we're just going to create an outline along the face, along the chin here. Okay, so I'm just going to click up here, right there, and just along the chin area. And luckily my face outline is not too lumpy, so it's fairly easy to just do something like this. And again, don't have to be totally accurate. But again, you may want to consider using a larger stroke width for the outline of the face when compared to the eyes and everything like that. Okay, so I'm just going to connect it to the other black outline of the hair. Press enter there. Okay, so just make sure it's connected. I think if we zoom in right there, it should be, hopefully it's connected. All right, figure that out later. Okay, so you have the outline like this, and then take the background away. Here's what you have right here. Okay, and what you want to do then is just do the same thing. Right click, you can right click on that layer and just rasterize it, and then hold shift and click on both layers. And what I do is I just merge the layers, okay? Because then you can use the fill tool again, or the paint bucket tool, and you can select a color of skin you like this color of skin or something like that, and just fill it like that. Okay, so then that's your basic face. And the same process, like I mentioned, you just do the same thing for the eyes and everything, and the ears and whatever. So you can just go ahead and make the face invisible, and then do the eyes, and just draw a nose and whatever, and you get a nice vectorized looking face like this. Right? I don't want to spend too much time, obviously, in this webinar because we're focusing more on CrazyTalk Animator as opposed to Photoshop. So this is what you get. We're going to use this face that I already have saved for our reference there. Okay, so we'll just close the other one. And I believe I already have the JPEG or PNG saved. Yeah, here it is. Okay, I saved it as a PNG. And again, I'd recommend using a larger dimension. I think this one's basically 2,000 by 3,000. The dimensions there you can see if I mouse over it. Okay, so we'll just go ahead and use that. So at this point on, we can just go ahead and close down Photoshop. We're going to bring Photoshop up a little bit later in this webinar as we modify the character's face to have cat scratches and stuff on it. Okay? All right, so to create your own character, let's go ahead and just load up a new project, basically. I'm just going to load in that same scene, the garage background scene there. So let's go ahead to start from scratch here. I believe it's in scene. Okay, and this is a scene that you have to purchase, okay, so keep that in mind. I believe it's in the working places, not living spaces. Yeah, here's the garage right here, okay? So there's a G3 scene living spaces pack you can purchase from the content store, okay, and get this, it's all already prepared for you. And then just go ahead and bring in an actor, all right? I'm just gonna bring in a G3 human character. The Elastic Folks male front facing. All right, so I'll just click and drag him into my scene. What we're going to do is just basically replace his head. All right, let's go ahead and bring him a little bit forward first. So he's kind of in the middle of our scene here. All right, and in order to replace his head, we need to go to composer mode. Dun, 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 dun. And once in composer mode, we're going to create a morph-based head. I don't believe we've had a tutorial where we've created a morph-based head in a long time, anyways, that I can remember. But it's probably the recommended type of head in this situation. Okay, so select your character's head, and you can go to the content manager if you want. By the way, you can select preset heads that we already have here. So, you know, whatever, you can give this guy a female head if you want. Just by double clicking on the female head, it'll replace that head with the female head. You can see the skin color is a little bit different, but I'm going to show you how to fix that in a moment. All right, and another thing you can do is you can just go ahead and select the bone, the blue bone. So make sure the blue thing is selected here, the head bone, okay? And then up here, we'll have the option to create a head. You can click down here. You can create a morph-based head or a sprite-based head. In this case, we're creating a morph-based head. We do have lots of tutorials on sprite-based heads. I can provide those for you later if you want. All right, but we're going to create a morph-based head. No, we don't need to save the face file. Yes. Okay, so it says it only allows one head per character, unfortunately, so no multi-headed monsters at this point. And you want to replace the current head, select yes. Okay, and we're going to just choose that face image that I showed you earlier. All right, and this process is the face fitting process. I don't want to spend too much time on this because I think a lot of you should be familiar with it. Okay, this point here is just a crop. We don't need to crop anything. Let's just go to the next step. I don't want to spend too much time on this, like I mentioned here. You can just scroll your mouse button to zoom in and out, by the way. Okay. And these points here go on the very edges of the eyelids. And you can see here I modified my mouth to make it very straight, okay? Because my lips don't normally go that way, but fortunately, Photoshop can make anything possible, right? Even make your lips completely straight like this. All right, so that's basically it for this point. Go to the next step here. And again, for the morph-based heads, you're only doing the front facial fitting. Keep that in mind. And hopefully this loads up real quick. The file is fairly large, so it may take a bit longer the larger the file you have. Okay. Now this step here, very simple. Just put your eyebrows in place. Okay, and I don't spend too much time on the facial fitting. Generally, just follow the image on the left, the reference image. There are a couple tips that I can give you actually. Just place these in the general position that I want them to be in. And I've done this so many times, the facial fitting process in my lifetime. The nose markers here go on the very edges of the nostrils, at the close to the bottom here. So at this point here, that mouth looks okay. This first step, we're not paying too much attention on details right now because there's a more detailed facial mode, which we'll check out next. Okay, the top here, this top marker, does not go at the top of your hair. It goes at the top of where you think the scalp would be, okay? I'll just keep that in mind. I'll just throw these in here and try to narrow the face a little bit. I have a fairly narrow face. I just realized after doing this for myself here. All right, and then we'll go to the detailed facial mode, okay? In detailed facial mode, you see kind of like a halo around the original scalp area that I mentioned before. And that's to encompass your hair. So anything in this area here, you want to make sure that your hair is it fully encompasses your hair. Okay? And you can just cut them in like that. It doesn't really matter in this case. It's automatically going to mask out the background, by the way, on your character's head. All right, you can probably throw that up a bit. All right. I'm not going to worry too much about the details here. I do have the head saved and everything like that. And I think a lot of you are familiar with the facial fitting process. So for those of you who aren't, apologies if I'm going too fast here, but we do have tutorials that I can really give you in the future. Okay, so these eyes, I'm actually going to replace these eyes with CrazyTalk eyes, so don't worry too much about that. You can bring your nose a little bit down as well. The lips here, we need to shape those a bit better, just like this. And markers for the chin. We'll throw those at basically where the chin curves is where you want to throw those to. And then this one can be a little bit closer. Again, it doesn't have to be 100% accurate. Just trying to get as close as possible to the outline of the face there. And again, apologies if it's a little bit speedy for some of you. Whoops, I want to do that. You can use the undo key or Control Z or undo if you accidentally move something you don't want to. All right, we'll just work with that, okay? And it may not be the most detailed, but you can spend ages doing that if you really want to. Okay, I think we're just gonna go ahead and work with that. There's my flat shaped head on the top there. And you can test everything out if you want using the facial expressions, the mouth and eye blink and all that stuff. For example, if I test out the mouth here, for example, just click on the mouth. It should load up a testing sequence. But again, like I mentioned, this image is fairly large, so it's having a bit of a struggle. Hopefully I didn't just freeze something. Maybe I just shouldn't have tested it. I should have just done it like that.
E.
All right, so you can see everything looks a bit weird right now.
O.
We'll fix that a little bit later on, okay? And next step. We are going to replace the teeth and the eyes as well momentarily here. And after this, we'll get right into the dialogue, okay? So the focus of this was kind of maybe how to do the modify the lip syncing and stuff. It's not too tricky, but okay, so here's the rotate your mask if your face orientation is to the side or something. Don't worry about that, just press OK. Because we have a fairly ideal looking image directly facing forward. And we should have this thing loaded any moment now. Give me some time to review the chat window here. Oh, okay. Subdiacon mentions here in the chat window, you can use face filter to make your face a bit more beautiful. Gosh, it's taking this thing so long. Anyways, that's most of the process that we've gone through already. I may have just broken CrazyTalk or something. Hopefully it didn't freeze. If it did, no worries. We've gone through most of that process anyways, and I can just load up that face. Oh, finally. Okay, there we go. All right, so there's our head, obviously a bit big for our body, but you can just select it, okay, and you can bring it up to whatever you want. Now, here's the part where you can see the face. My skin color is a little bit different from the skin color of the character. When this happens, you don't have to go back into the whole process. You can just go over here to this button here. Now, you don't have to have the pipeline version of CrazyTalk Animator to launch to external image editor. So you can just go ahead and do this. Yeah, so what I'll do here is I'll launch this to the external image editor. If you have the pipeline version, you can launch the entire character, but I'm just launching the face right now. So to get the color reference, I'm gonna have to launch the face, and I'm just gonna launch, something like the hand. Okay, it doesn't really matter because it's the same color. I'm gonna launch the hand as well. And then I'll just go ahead and use the same fill tool there, and hold Alt and get this color from my hand. Go to my image of the face and fill it, and also the ears. All right, there we go. And then earlobe is, there we go. Just go ahead and file and save. And when you save it in Photoshop, it shall update in CrazyTalk Animator. Or it should. Maybe we have to do that one more time. Update. Okay. Try one more time. It should update automatically in CrazyTalk. Save it. And give it a close. All right, there it is. Okay, so that's how you can get the skin colors to be the same and accurate. Come on. All right, so after this, we'll jump right into the dialogue, and we'll do the transition after that, the easy transition. Okay, there's my, looks like I got a pretty bad tan there. Anyways, we'll go back to the stage mode here. Or before we do that, let's go ahead and add some eyes in. So we'll go to our head section over here, and there is morph-based eyes. Sounds like someone's getting arrested in the background. But for this type of character, we're going to use the cartoon eyes. You can use cartoon or the anime eyes. I'll just go ahead and use this anime type eye here, okay? And we can throw that in. Now you can see the eyes look pretty strange with all that makeup in and stuff. So what you can do is go to eye settings up here. And I just normally take off the eyelashes and take off the makeup, okay? And I normally as well get rid of those eyelids, and I'll show you why. This is the reason why I loaded up this particular character. You can modify things like the shadow of the eye here as well. If you want less brightness on that shadow, okay, you can brighten it up like that or darken it like this, okay? I tend to keep it relatively neutral. And the iris, you can adjust the hue, the color of the iris if you want to have it like more of a green or more of a aqua kind of color, just like that, okay? And lots of stuff you can do in here, but I'm not going to focus too much on this. We'll just go ahead and close that, and then we'll throw in some teeth there as well. In the mouth settings, it'll just prompt you to load in some teeth. So currently there's no teeth. I'm just going to go ahead and select, you know, give my character like comic teeth like this if we want. I like to use this one right here. That tends to be the more accurate looking one, or accurate, I guess in this case is a relative term. Okay, and so yeah, we have our fully functional character, and then we'll go ahead and back to stage mode. And once in stage mode, let's go ahead and get started on our character. So I don't have any body animation in this webinar, so I'm just going to give my character a neutral pose by going to animation and motion. G3 human, elastic folks front, and idle and talk. There's just a pose stand, okay? I'm just going to double click on that. That's just a simple pose for our character, all right? I could probably use some more color in my lips there since they're a bit purple, but you already know how to fix that. So, okay, cool. Let's go ahead and test our character, and I'll show you why I generally don't want to have eyelids on this character in just a moment. So let's go ahead and use our face puppet tool here. And I'm going to just go ahead and, you know, preview it. So you can see the eyelids, in some cases, they'll look okay like this, right? Just like this. But if you stretch them up like this, sometimes those eyelids will just stretch, and it'll kind of just stretch the material a little bit too much and create those kind of areas where it's just a little bit messy. Okay, and also when you blink, in some cases, you may have situations like this. If your eyebrows are too thick as well, you generally want to keep your eyebrows a bit higher away from your face. That's just the way my face is made. What can I say? Okay, so there you go. We'll just keep it for now. All right, I don't think it's too bad. But if you don't want that kind of stretchy stuff and you're really picky about it, you can get rid of those or make them a little bit higher as well on your eyelid. Okay, so let's go ahead then and do our dialogue first. This is normally the way I start my facial animations. I just throw in the dialogue first. So let's go into create script and create a wave file. I have the wave file already loaded up here. It's this one, okay? Hey everyone, today I'm going to attempt to give my cat a bath for the first time. Wish me luck. Okay, And then we have that transition, and then we have me with the injured face and everything like that. Okay, but let's go ahead first and take a quick look at this first section. Let's press F3 to go into our timeline. Okay, that's F3, a very important hotkey to go into your timeline. You can also press this button down here to go into it. Okay, and the facial animation will all be done in the face section of tracks here, okay? So if we go over here, we can hold Alt and scroll our mouse button to zoom out a little bit of our timeline. And you can see here we have the Viseme pose clip, okay? So whenever you add a script for your character, it'll just create this clip in the voice clip track. And if we twirl that down, you can see there's the wavelength, and there's all the Viseme shapes for the lips. Okay, let's zoom in a little bit closer and take a look at that. Okay? Hey everyone, today I'm going to... Okay, so hey everyone. So right here, this is the ev for the character, okay? So v. It should be like a th kind of Viseme shape for your lips. If you make the th sound with your lips, you'll see that your teeth kind of should be, you know, almost in front of your bottom lips there. So if you want to change that, you can just double click. You can use any of the keyframes that are already here, and you can just double click those keyframes. Or you can just double click anywhere in the lips track, and it'll just create a keyframe for you here, okay? So here we have a FV, okay? So this is the lip Viseme shape that I was talking about. So so this IH one here before, this IH is this one right here. So v. And now with this, you can adjust the expressiveness, okay? For each individual keyframe, you can adjust the expressiveness level. So if I want it to be more expressive, like this, you can see it'll be very, it'll be a much stronger Viseme shape on your lips, okay? If we take it down a little bit, you can see it'll be barely any expressiveness at all. Okay, so I like to kind of, for these ones, I like to have a fairly, for the M and for the F, the BMP and F, I like to kind of keep a very high expressiveness most of the time, 90% of the time. Okay, now you can click and drag. Let me just see something here real quick. Okay, seems like we had a bit of a volume issue there. So from here, we go. For there's ev and then re, there's an e. Now you don't have to have every single Viseme keyframe. Like you don't have to have a v and then and then e. Okay, I find that if you just go from F directly to E, this one right here, okay, you can do it just fine. Okay, so I'm just gonna actually make this, turn off the volume for my speech just really quickly, just so you can see what I'm talking about. So without having, you know, that annoying scratchy voice in the background as I scrub through the timeline. So every, and then here, this part is here is one. Okay, so everyone right there, okay? Now this is too crowded for me. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click and drag, and I'm gonna delete all these keyframes, okay? Generally, sometimes CrazyTalk Animator will create too many unnecessary keyframes. It's just an automatic algorithm, okay? So if you want more detailed facial animation or lip sync animation, you'll need to go into more details. Now, for sprite-based characters, they're super easy for the lip sync because they don't have any detail. They don't have like morph transitions between one mouth shape to the next. So for those kind of characters, you barely need to touch this at all. But for morph-based characters, like the one I'm using where the mouth will morph from one shape to the next, this is more important, okay? And it's also the same way with iClone. Okay, so ev, re, and then wha. Okay, so we can have a wha, like this W right here, and then one, and then here will be an N or an NG, okay? And this one I'll kind of tone down the expressiveness a little bit, okay? So everyone, okay? And then what you can do is if you want no expression, you can just add in a neutral keyframe right there, okay? So the none, okay? So, hey, everyone, okay? And then mouth closed. And then let's just turn the volume up a little quickly here. And then this one will be t, 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 okay? So we probably don't want the none here. We probably want the t, okay? And then today, and then this one probably would be like an A. Again, I'm talking really fast here, so you probably want to just have every second or every third consonant shape in here. But basically, I don't want to spend too much time on this, but this is the process that you go through when you want to do your lip syncing. Now, you can go into a lot more detail at this. Hey everyone, today I'm going. This one will have an A. I'm just going to go through it quickly and do like the most important ones. So this one is today I'm, okay, so the M is very important because the M, this is not an M mouth shape for the face, okay? So the M and the FV, like I mentioned before, they're very important. A lot of the other stuff you can cheat with, but for me, the most important ones are the BMP, the FV, and the WOO, okay? Those are the most noticeable facial expressions. Also, and O can be very important. The other ones are fairly interchangeable, to be honest. Okay, this one. So here there's an I'm, okay, so this needs to be an M. He needs to close his mouth here, okay? So, today I'm going to attempt to give my cat a bath for the... And then here we have a bath. Cat a bath. Bath. Okay, so there's an IH there. We don't want the IH, we want a B. B or an M and a P, okay? Full expressiveness, that's fine, okay? And then here, ba, we can have an A, okay? Let me tone down expressiveness a little bit. So bath, and then here, TH. Okay, you can use the T one. Bath, and then here we have a F for the first time. So F. Okay. Cat a bath for the first time. Wish me luck. Okay, that's fine for me. I think that looks okay. And of course, you can go into much more detail there, but here we have it. Hey everyone, today I'm going to attempt to give my cat a bath for the first time. Wish me luck. You can notice like how significant the F and the V and the M and the P and the U's are, okay, where you can kind of actually see the teeth or the mouth changes shape significantly. Okay, so on top of this, we're going to layer some facial animation, okay? Now, the easiest way to do that is I'm actually going to show you two ways to do that. The first way is to use the face key editor, which is this one right here. And this one you can just go ahead and use expressions that are already preset for your character. Or you can use the facial puppet tool. For morph-based characters, to be honest, I find that the templates don't work quite as well for morph-based characters. But let's go ahead and do it really quick. So at the very first frame, we want our character to be smiling. So you can just double-click on the happy expression style here, okay? Again, there's angry, sad, surprised, all these expressions. Like angry, for example, if you want him to be angry. You can see they're fairly strong, a lot of them, okay? And you can adjust the expression value here as well, okay? So the expression strength, you can bring those down or bring those up however you want. I'm just gonna go ahead and use a neutral happy expression though, okay? Maybe happy too. And we'll, happy one. We'll give them a bit more expression. Okay, so the eyes are a bit happier. Okay, and what that does is it'll throw a keyframe in the facial clip track here, okay? This one right here, new clip. That's what it does. Hey, everyone. And if you want to go to a neutral expression, you just go ahead and do that. And it'll just extend that clip, okay? So it'll extend the clip at the top. Don't worry too much about the clip, but it'll also add a facial keyframe there, okay? So from here to here, it'll transition to a neutral expression. And then maybe here to here, we can add another happy expression like that. Hey everyone, today I'm going to attempt to... You can adjust the position of that keyframe as well if you want. Oops, to bring it out further. You'd actually need in this case to copy it, right click and copy it, and go down here and maybe paste it. Control V, or should be able to do that. Oh, never mind. Okay, you just got to just double click it again. Sometimes the functionality can be a bit strange, but if that's too fast, you can just delete that one. Everyone, today I'm going to attempt to give my cat a bath for the... And then here, happy expression, okay? And so on and so forth. So what we'll go ahead and do is we'll just go ahead and actually just undo a couple of those here. I'm just going to take it back to the original happy one right here. Okay, so we're going to keep that happy expression, and the next thing I'm going to talk about, because it's a morph-based character, we'll talk about the morph tab right here. I showed you a little bit about the template tab, the keyframes available on that. You can also mix it with morph here as well. So, so let's see, for example, from here to here, I wanted to raise the eyebrow. Well, what I can do is I can just select my character's eyebrow, and I can move it like that, okay? Just like this. And from here to here, I'm going to just bring the eyebrow up like that, okay? Not too much, because of course you can see that messy stuff I talked about before on the bottom of the eyebrow. From here to here, and then back down to normal, okay? And then maybe at this point here, we want to, take the eyebrows up a little bit. So we'll just click in here, and we can have that. So from this point to this point, it'll just throw in the eyebrow raise there as well. Okay, I'm going to turn off that. Apologies if the annoying background stuff, voice in the background, scrubbing was annoying you there. I just get used to it myself. But okay, so there we have that. So eyebrow raise, back down to normal at this right here. And then from here to here, we have that eyebrow raise. And then we can, just go here and take it down a little bit like that. And then here to here, we can just use a default key if we want. Default key will take it back to the standard, okay? And you can just go ahead and work from there. That one's a little bit too, let's create our own custom smile here. Raise the bottom of the eyelids there, and you can raise the cheeks slightly as well, like this. Okay, there we go. Okay, so that's basically the face key editor. It's the more detailed and more time-consuming way to modify your facial expressions. For time constraints here, I'm just going to go ahead and use that. But on top of that, what we can do is we can just go ahead and you can see his face is facing directly forward. Doesn't look very natural. I found a very easy way to just create some natural face movement for your character is to use the face puppet tool and just clear everything on your selection here. And only use your head movement, like these two items right here, okay? So 3D movement and rotate head. And if you press space to preview, you can see you can have some natural head movement expression for your character, okay? Obviously, you don't want to go too far to the side, otherwise it looks pretty weird, okay? But it does have a fairly good 3D effect that you can use, okay? Even though it's just a 2D image, CrazyTalk allows you to create a nice, 3D sort of simulation there. Or illusion of a 3D face. Illusion, Michael. All right, anyways, record. Okay, so press record here, and we're just gonna go ahead and record some natural head movement, okay? Okay, so I forgot to do the, put the volume up there. Hey everyone, today I'm going to attempt to give my cat a bath for the first time. Wish me luck. Okay, and then of course here, if you want, you can just throw in like a smile at the end there by clicking and dragging, deleting all these face keyframes here, and then we'll just use that facial key editor template and create a happy template there. All right, there we go. Okay, all right, good enough for me. Okay, and then we'll do that transition really quick. So the transition is from a content pack, a new content pack in the content store. For transitions, I'll just really quickly find that for you. Or maybe the host of the Reallusion host here can find that pack for us and throw that transition link in the chat window if you want to check it out later, because I'm just going to focus on getting this done here. But you can find those transitions in the prop section here under G3 transition effects bonus pack. All right, and there's business and there's neon, all kinds of transitions here. There's also this G3 animated props transition effects. This is the regular folder, okay, and there's also the bonus pack as well. So the regular folder, there's all kinds of transitions you can throw in there. And what a transition does is it allows you to transition from one scene to the next within the project. And we used that briefly in a previous one. I'll just go ahead and use something like this, something that I haven't used before. This radial one looks really cool. under pastel and stripes. So all I gotta do is just throw this in, and wow, that's very bright. All right, pretty cool though. Let's just zoom out, and actually what we're gonna do here is we're going to make sure, if I can move my panel here, there we go, it's in the way. I can use my record mode here. Make sure I'm in frame 1 first, okay? Use my record mode, camera record mode, and I'm gonna go to render video, and we're just gonna change from this frame size to a regular 1080p, okay? That's generally the frame size we want. And we'll zoom in on our character's face, okay? Holding Alt and both mouse buttons. This is probably the view we want. That actually makes a pretty nice background, to be honest, better than the garage. Oh well, okay, so we're gonna go ahead and use the scene manager here. And under prop, you'll see the radial prop right here. Just click it. You can scroll your mouse button forward to make it zoom forward like this in front of your character. If you want to resize it, just go out of camera mode here, and you can resize it to whatever you want here. Okay, something like this. Make it really small first, and then go into camera mode, and then make sure that it's, you know, takes up your entire stuff right here. Okay, so let's go ahead and play back first. Hey everyone, today I'm going to attempt to give my cat a bath for the first time. Wish me luck. Okay, so here's where we want the transition to start. So we can right click on the transition, go to action menu, and select radial loop. Okay, and basically there's our transition from one to the next. Now, if we want to see modify that transition at all, we can just go ahead and select object related track down here in our timeline, this one right here. Make sure that our radial item is selected there. And I believe it's in the motion track, you'll find this clip right here. Okay, so that's the clip. Now, like with any clips, you can make it slower if you want. You can adjust the speed, just like this, and stretch it out. And that transition will be slower. Okay, now other transitions you may need to right click and then also do the ending. There's a start transition and an end transition for a lot of the transitions. But let's just go ahead and use that one, okay? Now, the trick here is at the very beginning, we need to make the transition invisible. So let's go back to frame 1 and make it invisible by using this invisible toggle up here. And we'll go to that very first frame of the transition, which is right here. And we want to make it visible again, okay? And you can see the visible keyframe right here. We can click and drag it to wherever we want. And so then we have this. Hey everyone, today I'm going to attempt to give my cat a bath for the first time. Wish me luck. Yep. Okay, so then the next part here, obviously, is we want to have our character with the injuries on his face. Okay, and what I did for this part is I just created a second character. I'm not going to go into Photoshop. You already saw kind of, because this character takes a while for the face to load. You saw how I did it earlier. Basically what you do is you just select your character. You go into composer mode here, and I'm going to show you briefly, but I'm not going to save and reload it. Oh, whoops, I have the wrong thing selected there. Make sure we have the character selected. Do we have him selected? There we go. Okay, and go into composer mode with the character selected. And again, you do not need the pipeline version to do this. The pipeline version, you need that for exporting the entire character structure into Photoshop, like the hands and everything like that. So again, what I did is I selected the head and I just launched in Photoshop, external image editor, whatever editor you have. And I did a really cheesy snack job here of just use the brush. Make sure the brush is black. You can use the bracket key to make your brush smaller, like this. And I just created some scratches on my character's head. Or let's make that red, actually, more of a dark red, since they are scratches. All right, zoop, zoop. Okay, like some scratches on the nose. Oh, that last one's kind of going off the nose there. And I also have a bandage image that I have from a previous webinar. It's just a PNG image of a bandage. You can click and drag it in. You can throw that somewhere, maybe over here. And there we go. Place that right there. And keep in mind that this bandage, you'll have to merge it into the same layer, okay? But before we do that, let's create a couple more scratches underneath that bandage. Okay, whatever. This layer and you. Okay. And again, shift select all the layers and merge layers. Okay. And then file, save. Right. And then once you do that, it should update in CrazyTalk. But we actually shouldn't have done that with the character on the screen because that's the process anyways. Okay, I'm going to Control Z all that. I'm going to undo all that work that I did, all that painstaking 2 minutes of work in Photoshop. And that's how you do it anyways. Okay, I already have the character saved. Now, if you want to save your head, by the way, for future use, you can just go to Content Manager here with your character's head selected. Go to Head and go to Custom. Click on Head, and we can press the plus button here down here and just save that head for future use. You can apply that to any character you want. And you can also save the entire character basically through the same process. It's not really too difficult. We'll just call it me with pink skin. Okay, because I already saved it me with purple skin. You can see that right here previously. If you want to save the actor, you can go to Actor, Custom tab under Character, whatever folder you want. You can see there's me, and then there's me injured, okay, with the injured everything. And I'll go ahead and load that in right now. So we're going to do the old switcheroo after that point there. Okay, so we'll just play back real quick. Now, it doesn't matter where. Let's just go ahead at frame 1, and we'll add our custom character in. That actor that I just showed you that I saved previously, me injured. Let's click and drag that in. And through the magic of illusion, we can just replace this one character with the next one. All right, so they're about the same size there. And his lip, what do you know? His lip color will change too. Fantastic. All right, we'll just put him in the same pose. And animation, idle talk, this one. All right. So, but this character, the injured character, is going to be invisible for now, okay? And play back. Hey everyone, today I'm going to attempt to give my cat a bath for the first time. Wish me luck. So transition, boom, this is when we want to make him visible again. Okay, so he's visible now. And now we go to our scene manager, and the first character, we'll select him and make him invisible. So, okay, smiling, and then whoop, and then there I am injured, okay? Magic. All right, so right here, we'll just do the next little dialogue part here, this character, and then we will throw in that whatever dialogue it was, number 2. And I think that's so, it, basically. Just a little update on my cat washing adventure. Cats do not like being put into water. All right. So right here, we'll just go ahead and quickly do a recording with the facial puppet tool, okay? The fastest tool of them all. So I'm going to select here, Elastic Folks Male. Doesn't really matter what profile you select. This one, maybe I'll select sad. Okay, don't worry about his mouth right now. That'll change later. Actually, we can just remove the mouth here and just use only the eyes, okay? Okay, let's just go ahead and record on that sad one. So just a little update on my cat washing adventure. Cats do not like being put into water. Okay, so I just recorded that, and again, facial track right here. It'll just record a puppet clip in the facial clip track when you use the facial puppet tool, okay? Let's play that back. So just a little update on, and you can notice here that, wow, his his lips are like really weird. What you can do in that case, if you come across something like this, is you can just go ahead and in the facial clip track there, you can just totally, wait, this one you probably want to, Yes. Delete all these keys right here. Even though I did take off the facial movement or the lips and everything like that, decided this would still make everything weird like that. What I would probably do actually in this case, update on cat watching adventure. I need to give him a neutral expression. Just a little update on my cat washing adventure. Cats do not like being put into water. Okay, so let's try that one more time. I'm not sure why it did not mask out the face there. I'm going to go ahead and try to use the sad one again here. Let's record really quickly. So just a little update on my cat washing adventure. Cats do not like being put into water. Okay. So just a little update on my cat washing adventure. Cats do not like being put into water. Okay, let's go ahead and work with that. Actually, you know what? We can do Control Z and do that. I know what to do here. Let's just go ahead and record over it. We can just delete this entire clip, actually. And I'm just going to record. So just a little update on my cat washing adventure. Cats do not like being put into water. All right, we'll just work with that. All right, I'm not going to worry too much about that for now. And let's see, the last thing I'm going to do, add the music and the cat scratching and all that stuff, these sound effects. So that's pretty easy to do. Let's just go ahead and close everything down here and go to our project tab, which is where you'll find your music. And I just double click on the music track. And I'm going to throw in that Ben Sound ukulele track. Hey everyone, today I'm going. Okay, and this one needs to be a little bit lower in volume. So you can just double click it and you can change your volume down to like maybe 25% or something like that. All right, so let's give this a shot. Hey everyone, today I'm going to attempt to give my cat a bath for the first time. Wish me luck. So, all right, and then first time. Wish me luck. This part here, during the transition, we want to have the sound effect of the cat scratching. So we can just open sound effects 1, double click in there, and cat screech. Okay, so this transition was a little bit fast. Again, I showed you how you can extend that transition, or you can just right click here and break this clip for the cat screech. We'll take it down from 2 screeches to 1, right? And just delete the second part of the clip. So here we have this. Wish me luck. So just a little update on my cat washing adventure. Cats do not like being put into water. Okay. And then the music, you can just break that clip as well and delete it. And then we'll go ahead and do a little bit of a fade out for the music. Double click it again. Fade out about 10% of the last. You fade out 10%, it'll fade out about maybe the last 10% of the entire duration of that clip, okay? Not like being put into water. Okay, there's our fade out. All right, good enough. Let's go ahead and get to the Q&A then, since I went a couple minutes overtime, so apologies for that. But we will get to the Q&A at this time. And okay, so there's a little bit in the chat window. Some people mentioned about the adding blinking when your character is talking. Yes, Pierre mentioned that you can click your mouse button during the facial puppet tool to add blinking, okay? So if anyone's not aware of how to add blinking to your character, I just saw that. We didn't really get to the blinking, but you can click your mouse button to add blinks. So if I go to the facial puppet tool right here and I preview, I can click, there's my blink, okay? Just like that. Okay, see, so this particular sad expression, if you go to the left, your mouse button to the left, your character will really open his mouth wide like that. And if you take off all the mouth stuff, I forgot the middle one, that's what I forgot, this one right here. Okay, so when I did that animation earlier, I forgot to disable the lips right here. That's very important. Okay, so now it's just like this. Okay, still opening his mouth for some reason. Not sure why that is. Normally it should not do that. That's we're not modifying the lips at all. We should be able to mask them out. Maybe just use a neutral expression here. Yeah, maybe I guess we could have just done something like this. Start from neutral, like that, and add some head movement, okay? Okay, just remove the lip animation altogether. I guess even when you use this sad profile here and you disable all the mouth stuff, some of it may still be, so for example, like this, it should not open. But since you use the sad profile, some of that is still retained, I guess. Okay, anyways, let's get to the Q&A. All right. First question, Ken M. What is the file format for the face file saved from Photoshop, JPEG or PNG? Oh, good question. I believe it is PNG since it needs to be transparent, transparent image. Let me just double confirm that for you here. I always save to PNG anyways for your characters. Let me just make sure the character is selected here. I'm gonna lock that one. Yeah, I'm 99% sure it's PNG, although it may temporarily export to JPEG in Photoshop. I'm not sure. Let's find out. This mission launch into Photoshop. Yeah, it'll probably be a PNG image. Feel and explore. Yeah, so it's a PNG. Okay. No JPEGs when you're launching the stuff in Photoshop. All right. Hope that answers your question there, Ken M. Dan asks, why don't you have shortcuts when making morph-based heads for the face editor? For example, hand, pointer, zoom in and zoom out. For the morph-based head, zoom in and zoom out, you can just scroll your mouse button or scroll your mouse wheel, whatever. The hand, yeah, for that one, I believe I can't really say right now, but there is a hotkey for that. I haven't like I mentioned, I haven't done a morph-based head in such a long time. But there is a hotkey for that, and the hotkeys can be found, by the way, if you go up to your help file here. Where is it here? User manual, and there's like keyboard shortcuts down here. I'm not sure if there's a composer mode here. So there's hotkeys in here that you can take a look at. I'm not sure if there's a one for the facial fitting though. Yeah, unfortunately, I can't see any right here, but there is one for sure. If you have CrazyTalk 8, it'll be in the help file for that. All right, so apologies for that. I can't answer that right now. So Dan also asks, how do you make custom teeth for your character? So custom teeth, if you want to modify your character's teeth, again, you can go here to the teeth settings, and you can let's see the teeth right here. Just close this down real quick first. Let's get in the way here. You can import in an image map of whatever teeth you want here. All right, so you can choose whatever kind of teeth you want. And I believe with this character as well, you should be able to. The teeth settings. There's no launch button right now for the teeth. I believe we're probably going to add that in the future. I heard people talking about that, but yeah, launching the teeth map. I know you can do it from CrazyTalk 8, so maybe this feature isn't with CrazyTalk Animator just yet. Apologies for that. But yeah, I don't really see a way that that's how you can add in a custom map anyways. But let me see here. I'm probably missing something. No, I think you can just remove the teeth and import them. But if you do import something, you can scale it. You can adjust the size and everything like that. Let's just throw in some teeth like this. So I would suggest maybe using a image that's I don't know, we'll say 500 by 500 and throw some teeth in there, and you can scale it and position to whatever you want. And then at that point, you'll know the size of the teeth that you'll need. Maybe we'll try importing something like this. That's still importing in that image. So again, if it's too big, you'd have to scale it. Okay, so there you go. That cat face image is about how big is that image? Oops, finish up there. 1600 by 1000. Okay, so roughly around there, and then of course you can scale it further in CrazyTalk Animator. Right? Unfortunately, it doesn't look like you can launch it at this time from the teeth settings panel. All right, so let's go to the next one here. Dale asks, should we process the audio first before using it in CTA3? Denoise and adjust levels. Yeah, definitely. Before you import it into CrazyTalk Animator, Dale, you'll want to do all that stuff. Make sure its levels are good and make sure there's no white noise in the background. Because I've seen cases where white noise will actually, the automatic lip sync will actually catch the white noise and it'll try to make a visine shape for the white noise, which doesn't make any sense. And Dale also mentions, does the lip sync animation supersede all the other facial animations? Yes. No. Well, here we go. Yes. No. Here we go. The lip sync is the lip sync. The lip sync is a lip sync, but you can modify just like in regular speech. If you're talking to yourself or talking to someone, you can have a smile on your face while you're making those visine shapes. They'll be a little bit different. So the facial puppet, any animation like that will influence the shape of your lips. Okay, just like you saw at the very end there when I was trying to perfect that that expression or that happy expression or sad expression rather, layering it over the lip sync. There was an issue with that. So that was an issue where the lip sync was too, or rather the expression was too strong. And it was overpowering the lip sync. Okay, so just keep in mind the lip sync it'll always be there, like unless you erase it, but it can be influenced by other facial animation tools. Hopefully that's clear as mud there. Jerry asks, what file format are transitions saved in, and how do we import our own once created and converted into that format? The transitions are iProps. No, not iProps, CT props. Okay, so if you want to see the format of your files, transitions here, whatever transition, doesn't matter. You can right click on it in the content manager and go to find file, and you can see it right here. It'll say it's a CrazyTalk Animator CT prop file. Okay, so I think it's like a CT prop or something like that. So yeah, CT prop, .ct prop. This is the file format right here. Okay, .ct prop. If you want to create a prop for that kind of if you want to have your own transitions, you should be able to import them in as MP4s or as GIFs. Okay, I believe, or MOVs. Okay, you can import in anything as a prop really, and but just keep in mind that when you import it in, that transition will play right away. All right, so you'd have to do some little bit of timing for that. Also, Flash files I think can be imported in as well. But yeah, I don't have any videos handy where I can just import it in and kind of show you. But actually, let me see here. Let's go back to stage mode. See if I can do a little bit of a example here. Oh, let's just throw in the video maybe. Okay, so say for example, this MP4 video was the transition that I wanted to add in. I can just click and drag it in and import it in as a prop. Okay, so when you import it in as a prop, that's an MP4 file that I imported in as a prop here. Okay, and we can stretch it out, make it smaller like this. And obviously, you can move it forward, move it back, or anything like that. It's just a file like this. Right click, remove object animation. We play back. It'll play it just like that, okay? Hey everyone, today I'm going to attempt to give my cat a bath. So if that's a transition MP4 or MOV or something like that, it would just do the same thing. Okay, but you'd have to time it correctly, right? At frame 1. Hey everyone, today I'm going to attempt to give my cat a bath. It'll just loop, it'll just keep on looping basically. So it's up to you to kind of get that timing correct there, okay? I'll just leave that for now. And okay, so hopefully that answers that question for you there, Jerry. Andre Luis asks, in a stand-up comedy project, the scene is always the same. Is it possible to save the last 150 keyframes and start the other scene from that point? Yeah, definitely. So that's a good question, Andre Luis. Basically, your project length. So say, for example, I wanted this project, the first part and the second part, to be in separate projects. What I would do is I can click and drag this little marker here on the left, or on the right rather, and bring it all the way over here. And you can see that's my project length. Okay, so I play back. Hey everyone, today I'm going to attempt to give my cat a bath for the first time. Wish me luck. Okay, so what I would do is I would click and drag that marker to this point right here. And I would save this project. I would save it as, project A, okay? And then what I would do is I would take this left marker and move it all the way up to just hit that first marker, or to the second marker rather, and click and drag this one over here. And then for the rest of it, so just a little update on my cat washing adventure. Cats do not like being put into water. Okay, so that would be my second project right there, and I would just save that. Okay, save that as like project B, for example. That's the best way to do it. So hopefully that answers your question there, and you'd have the same background, everything like that. Okay, so Jennifer asks a good question. How would a beard affect a morph-based head? It really depends. Now, you can add a beard onto your morph-based head if in the actual image itself, or what you could do is you could probably like load on a custom beard. So, for example, if you have a content pack that has beards in it, you can actually apply an accessory beard to your morph-based head as well. So let me just go ahead and show you an example of that. So we'll go to accessory here, and there's a hair and beards kit right here, like this one. And so maybe I'll just throw on, I don't know, which one would look good on me? This man bun, maybe. I'll just throw that on there. All right, so again, keep in mind that this is a vector image right here. I'm not sure how this is going to look, but okay, not too bad. We can resize that. All right, and position it however we want. And again, I have a fairly long face, I guess. I'm eternally reminded of that when I do this webinar. Okay, so there would be me with a kind of weird beard. I'd probably make it a little bit thinner there. And then I could just do the same thing. So this is what I would look like with a man bun. Interesting. And throw that on there, and then there we go. So just a little update on my cat washing adventure. Cats do not like being put into water. Okay, so there's beards that are separate, there's hair that's separate, and all that other stuff that's separate, but that's another way to do it. And you can also attach an accessory to your character, like a badge. You just click on that and drag it to your character. You can import in your own beard and save it as an accessory as well. Okay, all kinds of options there. But those are just a couple ways that you could add a beard to your character. So Jim asks a question: can you have your wave clips to overlap? Yes, your sound files can overlap, like the cat screech, but unfortunately we only have two sound effects slots right here. Although if you select your character, close down project, your character does not have the audio track, I don't believe. They do have it in iClone, but in CrazyTalk Animator 3, we don't have an audio track for your character, for props or anything like that. Let me just see really quickly here. Like this hammer, for example. Yeah. There's no option to add audio to this hammer. So with CrazyTalk Animator 3, at this time, you'd be restricted to those 3 audio tracks right here: sound effects 1, sound effects 2, and music. So if you have a really complicated project, you may have to mix some of those together in a sound editing software before you bring it in. All right. So Chuck asks, I need to make a character dance to music with a specific step. Very manual. Can I keyframe points to be added and some function morph in between frames? I believe you're talking maybe about facial animation, but yeah, you can definitely time with keyframe animation. You can time it down to the frames, down to the millisecond. The timing for expressions or whatever, you just have to put them in. Like I mentioned, you'll have those keyframes and just move them around according to the beat of your music and stuff like that. Yeah, so you can have your character dance to music. Again, like I mentioned, you'd have to get into a bit more detail. It'd take a bit more time consuming to keyframe your character to dance according to live music. Hopefully that answers your question there, Chuck. Ken is okay, so you're good with that question. Okay, so Subdiacon asks, what about 3D Connection 3D mouse? We don't have support for that yet. You could email us at developer@reallusion.com, and we might be able to incorporate something like that in the future, but we haven't had any requests other than this one right here for that. So if there's enough of an uprising, I guess, with our users, they've come with pitchforks and torches and stuff like that to Reallusion headquarters and ask for it, and then we might. Or an email campaign would also work. You don't need to do the pitchforks and torches. All right. So Jim asks, how many audio tracks can you have? Hopefully I answered that for you with the last question there, Jim. Sound effects 1, sound effects 2, and music. Okay, so those are the 3 tracks you have available for simultaneous playback for audio. So Howard asks, how soon will the webinar be uploaded to YouTube? We shall upload that probably within 12 hours, I think. It's uploaded to YouTube generally. Okay, so we'll send out the email for you guys as well. 24 hours. Okay, I'll say 24 hours to be safe. All right. So anonymous attendee says, convert video render PNG to video AVI regular. I'm not really sure of this question. Convert video render PNG to video AVI regular. I mean, not frame to frame. Perhaps you're talking about exporting image sequences. Maybe you can elaborate a little bit on that, anonymous attendee, and so I can answer more accurately for you there. Okay, so Howard mentions I'm able to import green screen video to add transparency or formats with alpha transparency, and then arrange and composite. Oh, am I? Okay, so that's a question. Okay, so Howard asks, am I able to import green screen video to add transparency or formats with alpha transparency, for example, ProRes 4444, and then arrange, composite them in a 3D environment? Well, with CrazyTalk Animator, we have a semi 3D environment. In case you guys aren't aware, you can go up here to your 3D view to see stuff in the 3D view. You can move around like this, okay? You can see everything like that in a 3D view. You can click and drag stuff and move it forward or backward along your 3D view. Now, that's the only 3D environment we have in CrazyTalk Animator. But you can, like I mentioned, you can import in transparent video, no problem. MP, no, MP4 is not transparent. MOV, I've imported in transparent before. So hopefully that answers that question. You can import in transparent video. I know that for a fact. The format, but yeah, the formats, I'm not sure with the ProRes 4444. I haven't done that much in CrazyTalk Animator, to be honest. But definitely iClone is fully supportive of that. And therefore, I think CrazyTalk Animator should be with MOVs. I don't have any MOVs handy, but I'm 90% sure that it can do that. Okay, so Mark mentions the man bun and the beard were not moving with the face. The face or your head was sliding within the man bun and the beard. So how can you lock them together so that it doesn't appear to slide within the man bun and the beard? This part's a little bit tricky. So what Mark is mentioning is when I select our character, not the man bun. There we go. You have to be careful with this kind of stuff because, well, this man bun, first of all, it's not really intended for this type of character face. But what he's mentioning here is, I'll use the facial puppet to show you here. You can see that the facial puppet doesn't follow along with the man bun when you're doing a live facial puppet. So just a little update on my cat washing adventure. Cats do not along with it, but I'm gonna just make that, turn that audio off so we can focus on the actual face here. Let me zoom in really quick here. Okay, so stuff like this where, you know, the illusion of 3D might be a little bit off, so it looks like the man bun is kind of sliding like this, okay, along the face. So unfortunately, at this point, there's no way that can be avoided at this point. You just have to try to position things according to you know, where you think it'd be. You can't really modify this on the 3D view. So if you go to like 3D view, for example, you can't really adjust the position of that, like the beard. I can't select it. I can select the man bun separately, but if I move it forward like this or backward like that, you can see that if you have different accessories, you can move those a little bit closer. The reason for this is because the man bun, you can see that the forehead here actually protrudes because the morph-based head is like a 3D shaped kind of head. You can see like this. The man bun, ideally, we'd want it to be like out here, like on the front, right, of the character's head, just like this. If we did something like that, we could probably minimize the sliding. Okay, so if we went out of 3D view at this point here, and then we took a look at it, it's still sliding, but you know, there's not much you can do in that particular case, unfortunately. But yeah, that's something that I haven't really ever been able to get correctly working 100%. The alternative is you can just like export that man bun itself as an image into Photoshop or whatever, and then you can like manually add it onto your character's face, like select the man bun and launch it like this in Photoshop. And let's probably make it a little bit larger. And then you know, just select everything. Oh gosh, this has a lot of sections to it. Let me just try and select everything here. Yeah, you'd have to go in here and select all these parts individually. Who'd have thought the man bun was so complicated? Hmm. Something like this will work. There you go. So if you did it this way, you just attach it to your actual morph-based face, then you wouldn't have that issue. But you can see there's a little bit of sizing issues there. Hopefully that'll get fixed when we actually confirm our transform. But try and get this as accurate as possible. There we go. Okay, it looks not bad, but the top here has to be raised. Oh, that's my face. Okay, hope that works. All right, there we go. And that would be, if you did it this way, then you wouldn't have any sort of sliding. Okay, but with the facial accessories onto your character, you will have that sliding. So, if I took this face and I just, yeah, we lost the update. Okay, so but you would just update the face like this. So unfortunately, I can't bring this right into CrazyTalk right now. But you export your face, throw on this man bun, and then that would avoid all of the sliding issues that you're talking about there. All right. Hopefully that answers that question for you there, Mark. A little bit of troubleshooting. Joseph asks, for input when manipulating your scene or props, is there any support for a tablet aside from mouse and keyboard? Unfortunately, not right now. We only have support for mouse and keyboard, Joseph. So we have had requests for tablet support, and we may be integrating that in the future, but no current plans. But it is some really good feedback and a really good suggestion. Okay, so Daniel Cortez mentions PNG frame by frame in your software to make it video. Yeah, so you can export a PNG sequence, and then you can create it into a video in like your video editing software, like Adobe Premiere or something like that. But you can't do that in CrazyTalk Animator because it's not a video editing software suite. Hope that answers that question for you there, Daniel Cortez. PNG export, we can do that from CrazyTalk Animator, and then you can save it to a different format and composite it together in your video editing software. James asks, are there webinars for Pop Video 3? We haven't had a Pop Video webinar in ages. I think we probably had one early last year, I think, in February or March was the last Pop Video webinar. But we haven't updated that in a year or so, so we haven't had any new webinars come out. But if you have a request for a Pop Video webinar, we can certainly take a look at that, James. Just request it. You can email us, webinar@reallusion.com, and request that, or put it in your feedback form there. Okay, so Chuck asks, can the 3D view allow planes at different angles, like a character inside a room, where every wall is a different 3D plane? Unfortunately not. The 3D view only allows you to move things back and forth. So I can rotate like this. If I try to use the rotate hotkey, like the E hotkey for rotate like this, I can't do anything. Okay, it'll only have the movement back and forth. So there's no rotation in this 3D view, unfortunately. It's something we may have in a future version, though. That seems like a really good feature to have. So unfortunately, we don't have that right now there, Chuck. Yeah, so Michael mentions what I kind of just went through here, the beard being in front of the face. That could have an effect as well. But to avoid that, just go through the process I went through to attach it to the actual image of your character's face there. Mark asks, can the accessories be exported out and then we can use Photoshop to connect them? Okay, yeah, so that's kind of just what I did, the process I went through there, Mark. So hopefully you caught that. Export the accessory and use Photoshop to place them exactly where you want on your character to avoid that sliding. That's a little bit of a workaround that I just went through there. And Jennifer mentions the same thing. Hopefully you guys, yeah, okay, cool. A lot of people got that. Okay. David asks a good question. Is GIMP also compatible with CrazyTalk Animator 3 for editing characters? Yes, any video or any image editing software where you can save or load PSD files, you can use for this process. It doesn't have to be Photoshop. GIMP is also a free video editing software. All right, I think we are pretty much at the end of our webinar here. We went about half an hour over, so apologies for that, guys. But yeah, I'd also like to thank everyone so much for attending and remind you guys that we are sending out that survey for you. So 10% off the content store goes to you if you fill out that survey for us. And yeah, the video will be provided within 24 hours as well via email. And I think there's not much to go through. So again, thanks so much everyone for attending. Hopefully you guys learned a lot. All right, and yeah, make sure you check out our YouTube videos on the YouTube channel. And any requests, you can always email us as well and give us your feedback in the feedback form. All right, so let's go ahead and end it off then. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. And I'll see you guys in the next webinar.